Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force with some more Friday Night Magic. Today I'll be playing a blue and black control deck, and I think I'll actually keep this hand pretty much solely because we have the Think Twice, and we've got a decent mana base here as well. So this blue-black deck is all about control. We do have some early game creatures, but a majority of the time we're trying to win with some of the later, beefier stuff. Specifically, we've got a lot of like 5 and 6 drops in this deck. So yeah, it's all about staving off any early aggression and then winning with some powerful stuff. And we're not going to be playing anything right now. I've got the Quickling. This is more used to bounce back creatures that we want to play for their come into play effects, specifically something like the Shadowborn Demon, which comes into play. We get to destroy target non-demon creature, and then we can bounce it back during our opponent's turn with the flash, and then replay it again during our next turn to kill another creature, just sort of as an example. Now let's see here, just going to be opening up with a 1/1 plus Regenerate. And before the end of his turn, we'll go ahead and Think Twice, which lets us draw a card, plus we can flash it back for 3. And we drew into a nice little rescue from the underworld. Okay, so I think for this turn, we are going to play the Phyrexian Rager. It's a 2/2 body, so it's going to let us hold off, again, some aggression. But also, once it comes into play, we lose a life and get to draw a card. And we drew into the Undying Evil, which is a nice little card to save our creatures. If something gets targeted, we can give it Undying until end of turn, which means it'll come right back into play. He's going to play the Goblin Rabble Master. He gets a Goblin dude each turn with that. That's kind of annoying. And he's just... Oh yeah, he has to attack with the Goblin dude, so we can just go ahead and block that and kill it. Decides not to attack with the Drudge Skeletons because he did not have the mana to regenerate it. So that makes sense to me. Alright, so let's think about this here. So we're gonna have 4 mana, and there's not a lot we can do. We have the Quickling that we can eventually do to bounce back the Rager. I don't think I want to attack with the Rager, because I think I'd prefer to save it as a blocker. So I guess we'll just go ahead and play another land. And then we can go ahead and pass the turn. We don't need to go too crazy here. I mean, this particular deck isn't about, you know, we're not trying to rush our opponent down early or anything. So we've got the Undying Evil to save our creature with a block. We have the Quickling to save it if he does anything to it. And we can also flash back the Think Twice potentially. Alright, so let's see what he's got going on here. He is just going to attack with that. Oh, he's going to attack with the Rabble Master as well. This is good. I will... Okay, so that becomes a 3/2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this with this. He's going to Augur Spray, which gives a creature +4/-4 till end of turn. And I'm going to give it Undying Evil, which will bounce it back into play. Well, it gives it Undying, so it is going to die from the spell, but his thing is still blocked since we declared blockers. And then we get him back as a 3/3. Lose a life, draw a card. And before the end of his turn, I am going to play the Think Twice with Flashback, which lets us draw a card. This is going to bring us up to 7. Nice, we got a Liliana Spectre. So we've got the 3/3 in play now. All those things are looking pretty good for me. And this turn, we're going to be able to Shadowborn Demon. And then I can bounce it back with the Quickling during my upkeep. Or once I untap upkeep. Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to do that. So that sounds good to me. That sounds good to me. I think that's probably what I'll do to kill the Rabble Master. Or, you know, I could also just Frostlinks tap the Rabble Master. I've got the Liliana Spectre, which comes into play. Opponent is forced to discard a card. We do have the Runescarred Demon. We can't play that right away, though. Rescue from the Underworld is a really cool card, mind you. I choose target creature card from my graveyard and return that card during the beginning of my upkeep to the battlefield. There's another Undying Evil there. All right. So I'm going to play land for a turn. We're now sitting on the 17. I really think that I'm going to play the Runescarred Demon. I really do. Let me think about this here. Oh, I mean, I could just save it. I could just play Liliana Spectre, force him to discard. I'm going to have a blocker for that dude anyways, which I'm okay with. We've got another Undying Evil, although we won't be able to do that if we do this. I just think I kind of want to... I'm thinking I'm going to want to hold on to the No, you know what? Let's go with the Shadowborn Demon. We're gonna go with the Shadowborn Demon. We're gonna kill his Rabble Master. The Rabble Master is just a really big threat, and we've got different things that we can do to bounce this guy back. We can also just straight up sacrifice him if need be. We're gonna save our 3/3 as a blocker. So this guy, you know, it's great. It's a 5/6 body. Beginning my upkeep, if there are fewer than 6 cards in my graveyard, I do have to sacrifice a creature. So what I could just sacrifice the Phyrexian Rager. That is an option. That is something that I could do. I could also sacrifice the Shadowborn Demon. Oh no, I wouldn't want to do that anyways. Anger of the Gods deals 3 damage to each creature. Okay. So he's going to lose his stuff this way. Alright, so I'm going to try to think here. So, the trigger for sacrifice is going to happen here. So I could just give it Undying and then kill that. Or I can play the Quickling and bounce him back. I want to play the Quickling and bounce him back. Like this. So we're going to bounce this back to our hand. Okay. And then we're going to sacrifice the Quickling. And I think we're going to just go with a Frost Lynx right now. And tap his 1/1. So my idea with that is, yes, I get Quickling in the graveyard, but the reason I wanted to do that whole process was to... The reason I wanted to do that whole process was to get the Shadowborn Demon back in my hand so I can use it to remove another creature that he might play. So now we've got the option to do that in the future, like this thing, the Stormwrath Dragon. Alright. Flying Haste, protection from white, yeah, all sorts of craziness from that guy. Alright. So, he is not going to attack with it, hilariously enough. So we are going to, I think, play the Shadowborn Demon and blow him up. Now, my question is, I wonder if he is running Undying Evil. Looks like he is, yep. Alright. So he is running Undying Evil, so that thing is going to come back. With a 1/1 counter on it. And we are not going to attack. So I need to think about how I want to do this here. During my next turn. Alright, he's going to play... Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. Fair enough. So he's not going to attack with his 5/5, obviously. Alright, untap. During my upkeep, I have to choose to sacrifice. We are going to choose to sacrifice the... I could... You serious? Alright, that's not exactly what I wanted to do. We're going to play the Frostlink. We're going to tap Lynx and tap his 5/5. And it's going to stay tapped as well. And then we can hit him with this dude in the air, which I think is exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and move into combat phase. Like this. And attack him with a 5/6. So we've got some combos with our Undying Evil, so I'm not going to tap out here. So next turn, I can Undying Evil on this dude, and then sacrifice him, and then he comes back into play, and we can retap a creature. That's, I mean, that all sounds perfect to me. So we're not going to play the Phyrexian Rager, we're not going to play the Liliana Spectre, for the sake of comboing with this thing. And we have 2 creatures in our graveyard, so this thing, we need 6 in order for that sacrifice to not take place, but I'm quite fine with that, because we're going to be able to keep swinging him with our big dude now. Okay. So he is moving the turn on over. Alright, so during the beginning of my turn, before the sacrifice takes place, I'm going to give him Undying, so he gets Undying until end of turn. Okay. And then the sacrifice happens, so then I'm going to choose him. Sacrifice him. Undying triggers, comes into play. We get to tap a creature. We're going to tap that. So he's going to remain tapped and not untapped during his next untap thing. And then we draw a card. We drew into a Voyage's End, which lets us bounce a card. We still have the Rescue from the Underworld, which would let us pull something from our graveyard, but we don't need to do that quite yet. I might go with the Phyrexian Rager just to card draw here. Well, let's go ahead and... yeah, let's go ahead and attack first. Gonna attack with our 5/6. Keep chipping away at his health. And then I will go Phyrexian Rager. We will lose a life and draw a card, and we still have mana to do our Voyage's End. So I can do the Voyage's End either to tap one of his creatures, or excuse me, bounce one of his creatures back, or bounce one of my creatures back, like bounce this guy back to replay him, for example. And that could let me kill his 5/5 dragon if I did that way. So he's gonna play destroy all walls. Whenever it attacks, if defending player controls no walls, it deals 2 damage to each creature without flying that player controls. So that's a 5/5 flyer that he has there. So maybe I bounce that back. Oh, and then he gets 5 damage to put where he chooses because of that thing. So I could bounce this back and then replay it and tap that guy out. I think I'm gonna do that. We're gonna bounce this back. He's choosing to do damage. We're gonna bounce it back. Next turn we can replay it. And we will put that on the bottom. So that bounces back to our hand. We get to scry, which is what we did there. And then attack phase. He's got his 1/1 he could attack with, but he won't. Doesn't make any sense because we block it with the 2/2. Alright, on tap upkeep, we choose to sack a creature. We're going to get rid of our dude there. Let me draw another one too. We're going to play our Frostlinks and tap his 5/5 here. Like that. And we've got the choice of Liliana Spectre or another Phyrexian Rager. I guess we will just go with the other Phyrexian Rager because he's got no cards for me to force him to discard. I mean, the Liliana Spectre would be another blocker, but... So we lose a life, draw a card, we draw a land, we play the land, and then we can attack with our 5/6, bringing him down now to 5 life. Now next turn, he's going to be able to attack us with this and monstrous. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Actually, he doesn't, 4, 5, oh yeah, he does have enough land. So this will pump it up 3, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11. So he's going to be putting us pretty low, but it's not low enough to kill us. So... I think he might be screwed here if he attacks with that. Okay. Alright. So let me think about this real quick. Well, that effect is triggering either way. The rescue from the underworld doesn't save me right now. The Runescarred Demon would help me not die. Alright, so we're going to be sacrificing. We will sacrifice a Rager. We draw a Liliana Spectre. Okay, this is good. The Liliana Spectres will save me. So Liliana Spectre, force him to discard a card. Alright. And then we have got... We can use the Shadow from the Underworld. So in addition to playing it, we have to sack a creature. And then we choose a creature from our graveyard and return that card and the sacrifice card to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of your next upkeep. So I can block, kill off my flyer, and then sack and rescue from the underworld, so both things will come into play, and then that's going to let me kill one of his dudes. I think that works just fine. Yeah, I think that works just fine. But I would need him to die. Oh yeah, both will come back. So that, yeah, that's gonna work just fine. So we're gonna try for a play with Rescue of the Underworld here. So both the sacrificed card as well as the card you fetch from your graveyard will come back during the beginning of your next upkeep. Okay. Alright, so given he attacks, we've got double blockers, and we've got the Rescue of the Underworld. Alright, burning. What is this? This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. Okay. Gotcha. I see. I see what he's doing here. So we can tap that to ping off something. Okay, so I think I know what I'm going to do here. Okay, before the end of his turn, we're going to rescue from the underworld. We're going to choose the Frostlinks to come back. confirm. And we are going to sacrifice our 5/6, because this is going to come back during our upkeep. Okay. So, then creature sacrificed, untap, upkeep happens. Both cards come into play. I choose a creature to tap. I choose a creature to destroy. We choose to destroy the 8/8. He's going to tap it and probably use it to kill our 5/6 flyer, if I were to guess. Okay, so he's going to tap the Stormbreath Dragon. He's going to use it to kill our 5/6. Doesn't matter. His 8/8 will still die, though, in the process, because that effect still resolves. His 5/5 flyer taps. We draw a card. This is going very well. We've got a Runescarred Demon. We are going to play the Runescarred Demon. Comes into play. We get to search our library for any card that we choose and put it into our hand. And I'm not quite sure exactly what I want. We could go with another Runescarred Demon. De Nova Horror is actually really good here. The real player left, but De Nova Horror is going to let me bounce back and force him to discard one of his creature cards, which will likely be his 5/5 dragon there. And we've got the Undying Evil. So things are looking pretty good for us. I mean, beyond the fact that the real player has left here, but let's go ahead and attack him with our 2/1 flyer. You know what? I should be safe here. Yeah, I'm just going to be extra safe here. We're going to be extra precautious. I mean, again, I know the real player's left. The situation is looking incredibly good for me. He is going to do that. Okay. So it's 3 damage to each creature. So who would I want back? Well, let's Undying Evil, one of our Specters. Our Frostlinks. Or excuse me, yeah, not Specters. Undying Evil, one of our Specters, so it dies. Oh, it's exiled. Oh, so that didn't even work out the way I thought it was going to. All right, well, that's fine. Doesn't matter. Just for the lulz, let's play De Nova Horror so you guys can see this. Comes into play, we return a battlefield to the owner's hand, and then that player also has to discard a card. So it works to remove something if they've got no cards in hand, which is exactly what we just saw. And then we can move into combat phase. No cards. He's at 5 health. We've got 6 damage. That is the game. GG. And now for match number 2. This is not a hand that I want to see, so we will draw a new one. This is actually not bad. We got some 3 drops. We got the Voyage's End. We do have a Dinarova Horror. I called this thing Dinova for so long. I think that's my problem. Let's go ahead and keep this hand, and we'll start off with the Dimir Guildgate. Taps for a blue or black. So the Frostlinks isn't exactly something I want to see super early game, but it is a body. I definitely prefer in this deck to get a Phyrexian Rager early on because it's a 2/2 body, plus it gives us the card draw, which is very nice to have. Go ahead and play Swamp here. We do have 2 of the Voyage's End, but again, that's also something we typically don't want early game. All of that depends on the deck we're playing against. If the deck we're playing against is super aggressive, having the Frostlinks isn't actually bad early on. So, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go for the card draw here. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go for the card draw. I'm not going to play the Frostlinks right now. I want to make sure I keep playing lands. So we're gonna hold off on the Frostlinks until he's got a creature for us to even target and tap out with it. And we're going to focus on the card draw for now. Alright, plays an 0/1. And he can tap it to deal 1 damage to our creature or player. Okay, good, we drew a land. And it's got haste too, so he can do it whenever. That's not bad. It's kind of a cool card. There's all sorts of different versions of these creatures that tap to deal damage. But it's neat because this one has haste. So you can do it immediately when it comes into play. I mean, it's no Goblin Sharpshooter. Alright, and he's choosing to do this to me now, which is kind of a mistake, just if you're watching and you're not super familiar with Magic. It'd be better for him to wait during my turn, because the 1 damage is going to be the same either way. And if he waited till my turn, what that does is it makes it so that if I played a creature with 1 health, he could ping and kill it. Which, dealing 1 damage to my face, or killing a potentially valuable creature, it's better for him to kill the potentially valuable creature. So I just want to point that out, not to be like, oh, look at him, he made a mistake, and I can notice it. I like to do that for people who may not be super familiar with Magic, because I make mistakes all the time, but I at least try to talk about, what's happening, why it happened, all that stuff. So I mean, we might just go with the second Frostlinks right now and hit him in the face. He's got a 1/4 Vigilance here. Or we could go with a Rager for the card draw. That's going to give me a body too. Let's go with the Rager. Go for the card draw. I mean, we could have card drawed from the flashback, but I'd rather also have the body. And attacking does nothing for us here, so I'm not going to bother. Because he just blocks it with his 1/4, and that's it, you know? So there's really no point in doing it. But if he does attack with his 1/4, I might double block, knowing that he'll kill one of them. But we'll get... Okay, never mind. That's not going to happen, because he's Nimbus winging, doing a Nimbus Wings on his standing troops, which gives it flying. Plus, he's going to play... Oh my gosh, that thing is a beast. Thank you, Voyage's End. It's going to drop both of the enchantments. What is he doing? He's going to ping me again on my turn, or on his turn. All right. So he just double enchanted a single creature. This can be a very risky move in Magic because if that creature disappears, you lose those enhancements. So both of these enchantments are going to drop off when I Voyage's End his creature. And I'm going to do that during my turn, which normally I would wait, but I want to remove his blockers. So we're actually going to do it during my turn. So we're going to tap 2 and Voyage's End. So this is going to get rid of his blocker, and now we can swing him for 4. And Voyage's End shows us a Quickling, and we will keep that on the top of our library because Quickling will actually be a nice thing to have. And then we move into combat phase, and we go ahead and attack for 4. And I am not going to play another Frostlinks right now. I'd rather save it for the instance where I want to tap one of his things. And I am going to also, because of this... You know what? I don't know if I've played a land this turn. It doesn't matter. There's not a land on top of my library, so I already know what's on top of my library, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm still thinking of doing the thing twice before the end of his turn, and I'll save mana. So yeah, we're not going to put down another Frostlinks. We're going to hold on to both of them. This gives us the opportunity to Voyage's End if he plays something that we want to bounce back immediately, or it gives us the opportunity to just think twice. And I think with that... If he doesn't enhance it right now, we'll just think... I'm so baffled by his use of this. This literally makes no sense right now. It's even worse because he could save this to deal damage to these creatures once I attack, and he blocks it. I don't know if I'm playing against a bot or something. And playing Hearthstone and playing against so many bots has really got me in this mentality. Like every time I see a play that's super questionable, I say, "Is this a bot or what's going on?" All right, so. See what I want to do here. There's a few different options. We do have the Denrova Horror right now, which would just get us a 4/4 body in play. But let's just play a Frostlinks right now and tap his 1/4 and hit him for 4. Yeah, this is a decent opportunity. We've got the Quickling to do, which will let us bounce back a creature to replay it either for more card draw or for more tapping. And right now, though, we are going to attack for 4 and bring him down to 12. And then I think that is pretty much, that's going to do it for this turn. I'm not going to do the other Frostlinks. We can do the Quickling during his turn because it does flash if I choose to bounce back one of these things and replay it. The Denrova Horror, I kind of want to wait to play it until I can Voyage's End it. So until I get 2 more mana, just so that to make sure I can protect it. I kind of want to. We'll see what my draws are. This is a pretty land-heavy deck. I think I'm running like 24 or 25 lands in this deck. Just because I've got a lot of higher casting cost stuff, so. And let's see what he plays. He plays a Kiln Fiend, all right. And he's gonna Spark Mage again. He is really all about that Spark Mage business. It makes no sense. Because next turn, if I attack... yeah, okay, he decided not to do it. Now the question is, do I want a Quickling or Voyage's End right now, or do I want to attack for 6 next turn? Well, if I play the Quickling, I'll also be able to attack for 6, plus I can do the tappers. Yeah, so I'm actually going to do this. We're going to play the Quickling, and with it, we are going to bounce back... do I want card draw? Or tapping. Let's go with the card draw, actually, because I can play the other Frostlinks to tap. Okay. And then we can go Frostlinks, tap that, and then swing for 6. And he will likely block 1 here, which is good. So we will... Okay, here's a Cunning Sparks. Are you serious? Alright, I'm going to save my Voyage's End for defensive purposes. Just in case he has a board clear here. And we're bringing him down to 6 now. And yeah, we're not going to play anything else right now. We're going to hold on to our mana for Voyage's End to bounce back. Just in case. Now, if he goes with the Molten Rain board clear, whatever the hell it's called, he's going to lose 2 of his creatures. Looks like that's not happening, though. And what I can do here is I can offensively Voyage End to have him have less blockers. Which is, I believe, what I'm going to do. Okay. So we're going to offensively Voyage End that. And we're going to win this turn. Unless he can do something crazy with his 1 mana. I don't need that for winning. And then we can... Alright, he's been replaced by AI. So what we can also... I mean, we've got a few options, but what I was planning to do is just Voyage's End to do this. And then we've got at least 6 damage now. Just keep it on top, doesn't matter. We've got at least 6 damage now to hit him. He can only block 1. So unless his 1 planes, like he's got some crazy removal or something, that should be the game here. Let's go ahead and move into combat. Swing for the 6. He can block 1 of the ground creatures. Let's see if anything in his hand. Does he have a Sword of Plowshare? No, he does not. So that is the game. Now for the deck list, we have got 3 of the Quicklings, so good with any of the creatures that have an effect when they come into play, which we do have quite a few of those in this deck. Plus you can use it to save any of your creatures, very nice little card. Voyage's End, offensively, defensively, bouncing back your creatures to replay, bouncing them back to save them, bouncing back opposing creatures to stop a threat, or to get attacking damage through. Think twice because card draw, it's so nice. You've got the base card draw, plus you can flash it back for more. This is just a great way to filter through your deck and get those things that you need, such as Frostlinks. This card is really, really good. It basically puts a freeze on the creature for a turn. So you tap a creature and then it won't untap during its next untap step. Plus it's a 2/2 body, which is very nice for the early game. Nice chump blocking, preventing some aggro decks from getting too much damage through. The little Pretender dude here, it's a 5 cost 0/0. And it comes into play, it's a copy of a creature, except it also gains tap 4 to return this creature to its owner's hand. So you can use these cards that you want to bounce back, and you can play them, you can rebounce them, you can do all sorts of fun little stuff with this card. Undying Evil, obviously in this deck, with things like Frostlinks, with things like Phyrexian Ragers. If those creatures die, you give them Undying, they come back into play, their into play effect triggers again. Also the Liliana Spectre, which comes into play and forces an opponent to discard a card. That's sort of the synergy that this deck is all revolved around. Shadowborn Demon, the 5/6 that comes into play, you get to destroy target non-demon creature. You have to sack a creature during your upkeep if you've got fewer than 6 creatures in your graveyard, but you can work around that with things like Undying Evil, which is fun. Or you can use something like the Rescue from the Underworld. This card is really bonkers. There's 3 of them in the deck. So you sack a creature, you choose a creature in your graveyard, both of them come into play during your next upkeep. What makes this really good though is that it's an instant. It'd be a lot less valuable if it were a sorcery, but because it's an instant, you get both of those creatures back on your next turn if you do it during your opponent's end step, which is really nice. The Runescar Demon, it's a beefy 6/6 creature, plus you can search through your library for any answers that you might need. And then the Dinrova Horror, a 4/4. If your opponent's hand is empty, it's basically permanent destruction. Can't really go wrong with that. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Friday Night Magic. Tune in next week for another episode. Have a good week, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Keep watching and keep owning.